All right, guys, you are watching the Football Frenzy. It's the Florida Gambling Boys on YouTube. As usual, I have Midwest Tommy Tice with me to my left. And welcome to the show for the first time, the professor, Brent Stein. Brent, welcome to the show,
Big
buddy.
Brent, man.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see ya.
Brent's to give him a little background, big ACC Florida State fan and
Unfortunately,
a
this week.
big SEC South Kakalaka fan.
Yeah, I like South Carolina.
So he's got a lot of knowledge to bring on that stuff. So quick, we wanted to get into it. We want to talk our picks of the week for week one of college football. So we're each week going to give you, and we're going to keep track of our picks for you guys. Last week, as if you watch the show, you know, both Tom and I were on Georgia Tech plus the 11.5, right, Tommy?
Yep, it was easy.
Easy
money.
outright winner. Didn't even need the points.
No, easy money.
So we're 1-0 to start the year. So, Tom, I'm going to start with you. Give me your three best bets for week one of the college football season.
Well, I like Wisconsin, minus a 24.5 to cover against Western Michigan. The only reason I'm saying that, Western Michigan went to a bowl game last year, depleted. Only have 7 or 8 starters back. I think it's going to be a long year for those guys in the MAC. I really like UConn at Maryland. Maryland's a 20-point favorite. I'd really like UConn to cover that number.
I think it's up to 20.5.
I love that number for UConn. And then Indiana has some players coming back. I know they lost their quarterback, but they got 7 starters back on defense. I like Indiana against FIU. I like Indiana covered that 21 at home. And I think that's going to be an easy one, too.
All right, so those are 3 good games. Interesting. We'll come back to your underdog here in a minute.
Yep.
Brent, what are you thinking this week? 3 picks.
First pick, I kind of like Texas A&M at home. I think you get Elko coming in there against Duke. His old quarterback, Riley Leonard, being at Notre Dame.
Great point.
I think he knows all the ins and outs of that guy.
Yep.
And I think the crowd's going to be rocking there in College Station.
12th man, Kyle
and
Field.
I think that they cover that.
What's the line on that
I
game?
think it's 2.5.
It's up to
right
3.
now.
I've seen some 2.5, some 3.
I like it better at 2.5. But,
Absolutely.
But that's not necessarily the 3. 3 probably still cover. I also like Virginia Tech this weekend. I think Virginia Tech.
I looked at that. What was that number?
I did
13?
too.
It's 13.
Yeah, I looked at that.
I did.
I think they come out and they run the football, and I think they go on the road and dominate that game. Personally, I think that might be a double-digit winner there. And I also like the over in the USC LSU game for the fact that I think both teams, they were 118th and 119th ranked defense last year. And when you get Riley on the one side and obviously Kelly on the other, I think the offenses aren't going to be. I think they're going to be good, and I don't see much improvement on.
What's the over? Side. What's the over under on that?
I think it's 64.5, I believe. Right now.
You know what?
Playing on a fast surface in Vegas.
I kind of like that also.
Yeah, I think you're going to see. 70 plus points in that game.
All right, so those are 3 solid picks, and I will say, when you touched on A&M, I think one of the biggest factors in that game, not only the Elko knowing Riley Leonard. If you looked at Riley Leonard last year at Duke,
big games he was average.
Riley Leonard was in the bottom 10 of Power 5 quarterbacks in accuracy. I think that's a huge thing, and I think Elko's going to attack that. And I love the fact that A&M in the portal got the kid from Purdue who was the leader in sacks in the Big Ten last year.
Yeah, you're talking about the defensive tackle.
Yeah, and I think he makes a huge difference on that defensive line. Now, look, Notre Dame's loaded. Notre Dame's got 5 guys in that defense that are in the top 10 positionally.
They're going to play all. They're all going to play on Sunday.
But they got the kid at defensive tackle, Howard Cross the third.
Yeah, they're all going to play on Sunday.
He's the top-ranked tackle in the nation.
But the bottom line is, can Notre Dame score points? And we don't know with Riley Leonard yet.
And they don't have the stud wide receivers they had before.
No, but they got good running. They're going
to run the ball.
They have a great running game. They got a great running game.
But if you have a true freshman left tackle,
yes,
and you have a redshirt freshman left guard, going into Kyle Field in a rough atmosphere.
And a center that's never started but has lettered.
You don't replace Joe Alt. I mean,
No.
you don't replace a guy like that. I mean, from anybody. So
I think that's a big difference right there. I lean to that side with you, Brent. As far
If
as,
Notre Dame wins that game, they run the table looking at that schedule.
well, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, who do they have left they have to worry about? Florida
Nothing.
State and USC?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And that's it.
Boston College,
Yeah,
Syracuse. Yeah.
So my 3 picks of the week, I'm going to go, I like West Virginia this week, getting 8.5 against Penn State in Morgantown. Returning
I thought about that, but
people on that offense, they were number 4 rushing the football last year. They were a top 30 offense in the nation. So I like West Virginia, and they're not my dog of the week, but I do like them catching 8.5. I like Miami. As much as it pains me to say that as a Gator fan, this is not a good Gator team. Billy Napier should have been fired last year. He will be fired this year.
He will be.
after 4 wins, yes, he's going to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they win more 4 or 5 games
Well,
this year.
they have that stretch with LSU, Ole
It's a
Miss,
gauntlet.
Texas,
Georgia.
and Florida State. If
Yeah,
Florida State
I mean-
wants to improve a little bit, but that's
They may go 0-5 in those games.
Yeah.
And nothing against Graham Mertz. I mean, although he's like the old Miami kicker, we always joke about Carlos Huerta.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been at Florida for 8 years now. So that's 2 of my games. Another play I had on the board was North Carolina on Thursday, but since this video won't be up until Friday, I'm not going to put them in the mix. I'm going to add in on the opposite. To take Maryland, and to his little brother at Maryland, I'll lay the 20.5. I have no fan. I know Jim Mora's Jim Mora Jr. slowly rebuilding in Connecticut, but I think Maryland's offense is loaded. Defensively, but I think they'll just put up too many points for Connecticut to handle. So those are my 3. I want to get to our underdogs of the week, and these will count as plays. What dog do you like the best this week, Tom?
UTEP.
UTEP plus the 27 at Nebraska.
Yes, I think they cover that.
True freshman quarterback at Nebraska. The Matt Rule era. How he keeps getting jobs, I have no idea.
Here's the thing: you win that game 42 to 20. It's a great win. You cover.
Right.
No, you don't cover.
That's 27
It's
and a
like
half.
27.5 points.
But you said 42-20. That's a 22-point win.
Yeah, you cover the 27 and a half.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's UTEP. Yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
So
Yeah, of
42
course,
to
yes,
20
yes.
is a great win.
Right.
At home. Yeah.
And Nebraska's starting a true freshman quarterback. I mean,
Nine up, they lost 6 starters on defense.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, that's a solid pick. Brent, who are you thinking for underdogs this week?
I kind of think Old Dominion at minus 20 or plus 20.5 against South Carolina. To be honest with you,
Then I looked at that.
that one they're basically running like they have Tennessee's offense. They're going to be fast paced. South Carolina's trying to build back that defense, trying to get it to where it is, but the pace I think might get to them a little bit, and they're going to run the ball. 20.5 seems a lot for a South Carolina team starting Lenore Sellers and the new guy breaking them in. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. I think go either way, but that's a lot of points.
That's a solid dog pick.
And I have one more. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not going to guarantee it or anything like that. But Michigan State at home against Florida Atlantic. Michigan State's a 13.5-point favorite. Michigan State is trying so hard to rebuild this.
Yeah.
I got no love for Michigan State, so I would lean that way with you. But
So to
not
come
a
out,
play for me. But
so to come out and dominate that football game, they've been practicing for 4 weeks for this football game.
yeah,
And I think they come out and I think they beat Florida Atlantic by more than the 13.5.
So-
I think that's a 35-10,
yeah, you might be
35-13,
right there. Yeah.
somewhere in there. But I think Michigan State covers that also.
My underdog of the week is going to be the Trojans against LSU. That line opened at 6. It's down to 4.5. Going to have a huge home field advantage in Las Vegas for this game.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot
Look, their
No.
defense could not get any worse than it was last year. It was atrocious.
Yeah.
Now they went out and Lincoln Riley got UCLA's defensive coordinator, as well as added some players in the portal. They have to be better.
But UCLA's defense sucked last year anyway.
No, actually, they were much improved. If you
The last 4 games of the
and
season,
statistically,
but the first 8 statistically, they were in the bottom 20 of the top
this defense can't be any worse. And you're going against an LSU team that obviously lost stud wide receiver Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Your quarterback in Daniels. And that offensive front four or defensive front four for LSU may be the worst in the SEC.
They were atrocious last year.
And the secondary is not much better. So, and the kid that took over for Caleb Williams, Miller
Perkins better be flying all around the field that game. Right?
Yeah, I forget his last name, but the kid who started for USC. Great bowl game last year.
6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. He thinks for 6. Yeah.
So I think USC's live here. I'll take the 4.5. Get it at 5 if you can. And on the lines with Tom, I'll throw one more in as a dog. I like Georgia Southern. They're getting 13 against Boise. This is not your father's Boise State team of years past.
Yeah, but they got to go out there.
No, it's in Georgia Southern.
It's in Georgia Southern? I thought when I read that, I must have read that wrong.
It's not in Boise.
It's in
hell,
Statesboro.
I read that wrong. I would have taken Georgia. I would have taken
It is
Georgia
in
Southern all day.
Statesboro.
Okay.
So you're talking about Boise coming out of the nice cool
No, I
weather
like Boise all
Idaho,
day long.
coming to the humidity in Georgia to play there.
I like that all day long.
And I wouldn't mind. I think I'm probably going to sprinkle a little something on Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
Just to add that in. So there's the picks.
Throw it out there. Brian Kelly. Is he in the hot seat after this year?
He's trash. I just think he's making too much money, though.
No, his buyout's too big, at least this year, I think.
So you're going to give him 2 more years after this year?
Yeah, this year and one more.
I would say at least one more.
Because his recruiting has not been great.
No.
I mean, he was, 9th last year?
Yeah.
And going into 2025 class, he's 17.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a guy that's bringing in players right now.
Somehow I think
they have the number 1 running back in the nation, though, out of New Orleans. He's already committed, 5-star. So, I mean, he's got some guys coming in, but
somehow I think this team was better off with that Orgeron. So, look, there's our picks for the weeks, guys. Put some money on that. Again, it's the Florida Gambling Boys on YouTube. This is our football frenzy. Again, for Midwest, Tommy Tice. And welcome to the show, Brent, the Professor Stein. I am the magnificent one, Sean Mayall, as your host. We'll be back next week. We're hoping to be live on YouTube next week. Come find us, check us out, and we'll see you live from the Seabreeze Lounge next Wednesday. Guys, have a great week. Hit the books hard. Gamble responsibly. We'll see you next week.